Okay, y'all, the lawyers and Casa and I have been talking, and because I asked everybody to go to a breakout room, everybody can blame this on me if they want to. I reviewed the file last night, getting ready for court today. After consulting with the ad litem's in the breakout rooms and over the very vocal, complaining objection of the department's lawyer, I'm going to make this a participation case. But what that means is, I'm gonna read y'all what I have written down. Any positive UAs for anything other than marijuana, we have an immediate removal. And I'll go over more of that in a minute. If the marijuana levels increase, that parent leaves the home and has no contact with the children until further court order. Parents are to hair strand, parents and Kaysen are to hair strand on Monday as directed by the department. If the children are removed, placement is immediately back with the grandparents. Pot levels must be decreasing. After 4/15/23, there should be absolutely no substances in any UAs. No alcohol consumed during the pendency of this case, and there will be random alcohol tests to ensure that that is not being that's being complied with. The department, the ad litem's, which includes CASA, have 24/7 access to the property, and that includes all homes and all buildings. Parents are to sign releases upon presentation for the children's medical records. The parents are to follow all services that are created at the family group conference, or whatever y'all call that after in a participation case, family team meeting, I don't know what y'all call it. And that is to be held within 3 weeks. Parents, let's get this real clear. If there's immediate removal, the department's only going to send me the pleadings, not your lawyers, not anybody else. I'm going to get them. And I'm reasonable within a limit. Okay. And here's some of my limit. And I'm just going to get this straight because I don't want to be a removal if it's not something that I'm going to think is important. I think it's important is there's any other substances other than pot. Okay. I'm sure Mr. Baker has told y'all both, and I said this earlier, I'm the biggest nerd in the world. I was a prosecutor before this. I don't like pot. I think it's still illegal. It's, it's against the law. And you're in a CPS case and you don't need to be smoking weed. Okay. So no substances, no pot after 4/15. So any substances like the UA that comes back, y'all took Monday, if it comes back positive from meth or coke or anything like that, y'all better tell your lawyers now, bam, because even though that's before today, I'm removing. Not marijuana, but bad, illegal felony type substances or prescriptions that y'all don't have, drug, what do you call them? Prescriptions that y'all don't have, prescription medicine that y'all don't have prescriptions for, bam. So is that going to be a problem? No. Okay. Because I hate to send the kids home and y'all's UA come back Monday and it's got something crazy in it. Y'all are muted. I can't hear you.
There should only be marijuana, if anything at all.
Okay. Mr. Cook, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. Well, y'all are warned. Okay.
Yes,
so no pot after 4/15/23. If y'all are arrested for any criminal charges other than minor traffic offenses. Okay. Even if you get a PI, if you get an assault, I don't view those paraphernalia. I don't view those during the pendency of a CPS case as a minor offense. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Speeding, whatever. If you have some traffic warrants, whatever, but not anything else.
Yes,
And the other one, immediate removal if no access is allowed to the property.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the reasons we're in this situation is because there was multiple attempts by the department to try to contact y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
And they went out there, they couldn't get access to the property, so I had to sign, I think on a Friday night, or I don't remember, I mean, sometime, maybe that was another case, but I don't very often have to do writs of attachment. And during like February, I had to do 2. And that's probably more than I've done in a whole year. Okay. So, setting appointments, not showing up. I know there's talk about that some of the people that live on that property don't like the government. I got it, but I guarantee they probably like their income tax return if they file. And they probably want to get on Medicaid and get Social Security when they turn 60, when they get old like me. So everybody can gripe all day about the department, about the government, but you know what? If you don't like it, move to Russia or somewhere, wherever.
Yes, ma'am. I'll give the gate code to Brooklyn, so they can have Brooklyn and Kayla, so they can have access out here, and they can just knock on our door, and yeah.
Okay.
So I'll give them the gate code where they can get in.
This is going to take, I know y'all live in like a cool setup, but this is going to take the cooperation of everybody that lives out there too. Okay. Because I would imagine if I lived somewhere like that, my kids, me, I'd be going, house to house to house. And I know y'all got a kitchen, it's like a one big place, if you ask me. It's kind of like a hunting camp, that's kind of the way.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Pretty much.
Sort of rotates around. So,
his grandparents live out here with us. So they live in a different cabin. And then we have our kitchen and living room. And then we have our house.
Okay. Well, tell the grandparents that's just the way they're not going to go in there and pull out underwear. They're not going to do that, but if, it needs to be, they need to figure it out.
Yes, ma'am.
If one of our family members in a CPS case and everybody's in a CPS case,
Yes, ma'am.
Do y'all understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If y'all up your service plan and there's, you have to, somebody's sick or something like that, you miss a session or you're late, I'm not going to remove the children for that. But if we have continual neglect or tardies or not going, then I'm going to be thinking about it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If there's something that's questionable, that's not a drug test or a lack of access or things like that, I can tell y'all that I will contact the lawyers and say, we need to have a phone conference or Zoom or something ASAP. And I told the lawyers, if I can't get a hold of them and I'm thinking that I probably need to remove the kids, then can't find the lawyers, you snooze, you lose, I'm gonna remove. Maybe. But those 4 triggering factors, that's regardless. I'm not going to contact anybody. It's just bam, that's what happens.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand.
Okay. And I'm also saying that if one of the children gets, there's other things that aren't just those 4 triggering factors, but it has to be pretty big,
Yes, ma'am.
Like it's a removal. It would have to be big, kind of like a whole new removal kind of case. Like one of the kids is hurt, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Sexual abuse, just there's a bunch of stuff that it could happen. But I'm hoping we're doing overkill on this and we're not going to have any of these problems.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Cochran Green, what do you need?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Fowler.
Your Honor, can we just get an order that the department contact the parents and parent attorneys about who's taking over this case within, by Monday? I hear Shanna Logan, my client, talking about giving Brooklyn the code for the gate. Brooklyn is not going to be your caseworker anymore. So it will be somebody new.
I can give it to.
Right. But we just need to get that name so that you guys can get the go ahead to go and do the testing and where to go. And we know who to communicate with.
Well, somebody needs to tell them, like today, we're to go do the hair strand and take cases to do the hair strand on Monday. So I'm assuming it'll be this unit because
So is it just Mason getting a hair test done as well, or is it Cashton too? Or is it
Uh,
just me and Caleb?
Hey, just Kason and y'all.
And the hair stands on Monday?
Well,
sorry.
you can do it today. You can do it
My
today.
understanding is you'll need I think we need a standalone order for that to get that done by then. I might be wrong, but that was my understanding.
I don't, those rules change all the time, so I don't know. Whatever Ms. Cochran Green lets me know. If you're gonna do the standalone, just text me when it comes in and I'll sign it ASAP. Cause I'm just doing easy stuff today after this. Yeah, okay, CPS to notify attorneys and causes who will be caseworker by 5 PM on Monday. Okay, anything else, Ms. Fallon?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Baker, what do you need?
Just a quick breakout room with our clients when we're done here.
Oh,
Okay.
and Judge, just one more thing. I think you said a hair strand on one of the children. Did you mean both, or did you just mean
That's
one?
what I was gonna say. Do it on the baby, on Cashton. I just want to
He's
do it on,
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I don't know. Atlantis, what do y'all think?
Cashton has had every kind of blood test and every kind of testing in the hospitals. I think if something would have come up, we would have already heard about it.
That's what I was thinking. I hate to,
They've tested him several times for everything.
yeah, I hate to make little man go through anything else. Yeah, yes, ma'am, Miss Willman.
Can we make it very clear, like whoever it is from the department, let the grandparents know what today's plan is?
Yes.
I will call them as soon as we get done.
And the kids can go home today, Your Honor?
As soon as everybody can, I mean, it's, Miss Fowler, it might take, I mean, aren't the kids in Corpus? I mean, it might take some, I don't know if the department has to bring them back. It's gonna
We can
take
go
some,
and pick them up if that's okay.
yeah, I don't know how, as soon as possible. And I don't mean like this time next week, you know, I mean like, you know, today, Monday.
So we can drive down there tonight and pick them up.
I don't know that. Y'all are gonna have to talk to the other people about that. I don't care. It's not my, that's past my pay grade. I don't know. Y'all make a plan.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't mind managing that much.
I think that's what Ms. Williman was talking about, is that the grandparents may not let them leave with the boys unless CPS tells them directly that they can. That's been
I
an
will call
issue.
him.
Okay.
Miss Willis, I want you to be sure and tell the grandparents that they need to be, they need to be on alert, because if there's any violation that I previously went over, bam, those kids be going back down there. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Okay. You need anything else, Miss Williman?
No, Judge.
Miss Dow?
No, Your Honor, I think that covers it.
Okay. Miss Cochran Green, did I already ask you that? I should have started with you, but you never know. It's Friday. Who knows who I started with?
You did.
Okay. I know there are gonna be some people upset with my ruling, but this is pretty much how I was figuring I was gonna do. Miss Logan and Mr. Cook, Mr. Baker and I've done this before, okay? And in another county. And I think this might be the second, maybe third time I've done this, okay? So it's not something that's done very often, okay? And I will tell you, the other case that Mr. Baker and I had, it was a second or a third time removal, and it worked out, okay? Believe that or not. We were all shocked. I think Mr. Baker was too. So if you screw this up, you know, you're screwing it up for future parents, because I don't want to have to continue to do this and have parents just mess it up. If you mess it up, then we go back to the whole year stuff, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, you get credit for your services and all that, but if we remove, the removal date starts then. It doesn't start on February 13th, okay?
Yes.
So that means you get to live with us longer than you would have expected,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? If you screw it up, there's a whole bunch of people on the screen today that are gonna go nanny nanny boo boo. I told you. I'm glad we don't have a court reporter because I don't think she could spell that. But, you know, that's that. And I'm going to have egg on my face. And I, as the judge, I do not like to do that. That does not put y'all in a very good light with me.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Because, you know, then you'd be living with me for a year and a half too. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And all of it, me, CPS, the Atlantic, we would definitely hold your feet to the fire a lot more because you've already showed us that you can't do it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's possible. I think it's highly possible that we can get through this quickly and in compliance with the court orders, or I wouldn't do it.
Yes, ma'am.
But, you know, you're kind of, you know, you're giving a good deal, you know, like you tell your kids, you're giving them a good deal, so don't mess it up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Because when you mess it up, you get hammered harder.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else want to say anything? And y'all, parents, I'm gonna tell y'all, I already told you a little bit. Like I said, I'm dead serious about the weed too, okay? And don't be starting to drink because you can't smoke weed, okay? That happens in CPS cases. Don't be doing that either. This case is gonna be on a fast track. It's going to be on a shorter time, you know, time level. And you know, y'all need to show us that y'all can do it. You know, y'all got
Yes,
a little sick. He needs y'all's undivided attention, and right minds and all that kind of stuff. So let's get in and let's get out as quick as we can. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank
Y'all, I had the status hearing when this was a removal set for 418. I think I'm going to go on and keep the compliance hearing on that same day because since the family group conference is going to be held within 3 weeks, I think the parents ought to well be on their way to working on their plan, and we shouldn't have any. That's after my 4/15 drop dead date for the marijuana.
What date did you say, Judge?
4/18.
Great.
That's our next court date.
Yeah. One other thing that I forgot to bring up. This is big. Where are my applications for court-appointed attorney that were supposed to be due on 2/25, or y'all didn't have lawyers anymore?
I filed mine, Your Honor.
You did?
Yes, it was accepted. It should be on file.
Okay. I'd ask Angelica, I don't think, Mr. Baker, where's yours?
I have no idea, Judge.
We will get that done today.
I might have dropped the ball on that, honestly. If I did, I'm sorry.
Jana, I'm correct. You filled yours out with me, right?
Yes, we did it over the phone.
Okay, yeah. We did it.
Like after court, the last.
I got it.
Okay.
I just got a bunch of cases at the same time, and I knew that I dropped the ball on one, but I got one filed, and I got this one filed.
Mr. Baker, I need it by 3/15 or you're released. Miss Trinidad, will you look to make sure well, I can just look real quick. Natalie, the last email I have for you is Dodd Vonda hire temporary order on 2/27. Let me see if I responded.
So he's doing a lot better now that he got the naproxen and the Pepcid and everything that San Antonio Children's Hospital sent him home with. There's no more swelling. The rash is still there, but they don't want to give him steroids because he was on steroids for 3 weeks prior to that. I know that last night whenever I talked to them, he was running a fever of 101, and my father and Nancy gave him Tylenol, and we're going to play it out and see how he felt throughout the night. I have not spoke to them this morning yet, but I was going to call them as soon as we get off of the Zoom meeting.
Is this something he's had his whole life?
No, ma'am. He was diagnosed early January with it. It just came out of nowhere. He's healthy his whole life, no problems ever, and then out of nowhere it happened.
They call it an autoimmune response. Like it was his body's reaction to fighting the virus, I guess, and that's how he ended up with it.
So it's not a genetic thing or anything. It's just like something you can catch, huh?
Not that we don't know if it's genetic or not. They don't really have tests for it or anything. So,
and it's rare.
yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Have y'all gone to Dell the whole time?
We went to Dell Children's Hospital. We went to the other children's hospital in Austin. We've been to 2 emergency clinics in Leander and in Lampasas. And then we also been to the San Antonio Children's Hospital.
Do y'all have, when the kiddos come back, do y'all have one doctor that we're going to be able to see, on a regular basis for this?
Yes, he has a pediatrician in Passes Family Medicine Clinic is who we go to.
Okay, and is that doctor, and I mean, I'm not talking smack about little town doctors, but does that doctor, is he up to date on the illness?
Yes, they know of it. They've never heard of it, as did we never heard of it either whenever we were told about it. But they've been doing their information. I've been giving them hospital records and everything as well.
Okay. And Cason's fine, no indication he has anything?
No, ma'am, he's healthy.
Just a regular 4-year-old, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, got it. Okay, well, good luck to y'all. I hope I don't hear anything until I see y'all at the compliance hearing on 4/18.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Miss Trinidad, if you will send Mr. Baker, Miss Fowler, and Miss Logan, Mr. Cook into a breakout room. Everybody else, I guess we're in recess unless y'all are on the other burning case. It's at noon, but I'm gonna get them to move it up.
We are here today on our motion to change the child's placement because at the adversary hearing, the order stated that we cannot move the child out of state without a hearing on the matter. Since that time, the department has received a positive approved ICPC home study on the aunt in New York, and we seek to place the child there. Specifically, the mom is not necessarily complying with her services and finding what she needs for permanency for the child. And the child he was originally in the Garden of Hope emergency shelter. He's now still at Garden of Hope, but he's transitioned to their GRO program. So we believe that it's in the child's best interest to be placed in the least restrictive home environment, which is with the relative in New York, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Vanna, what you said, mom's not really working all of her service plan. What about the father?
Ms. Wells, is the father doing any services at this time?
At this time, he has not. I spoke with him back in December, and he was confused as to why he would have to participate since he was the non-offending parent and he didn't do anything to get in this position.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wells.
Anybody have any questions, Ms. Wells?
I do have a couple, Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wells, and again, please forgive me, I'm not familiar with this case, but can you tell us why the department believes it would be better to be with the family in New York than to stay where he is or to be returned to a parent?
I believe it's in the best interest for Jonathan, as I've spoken to him, and he's even stated that he enjoys being with his aunt in New York. He likes the school that he was in when he was living there with them. And right now, I have not been able to get a hold of Mr. Gordon. I have mailed him his service plan. I have not received anything back from him. And for mom, in a sense, living with her, she has no stable housing right now to even have Jonathan placed with her.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions, Ms. Wells?
Yes, Judge, one more question.
Hold on just a second.
Okay.
Who's the ad litem?
That's Michelle Cummings. She filed an ad litem report.
Yes, I know. I keep forgetting about having a little fit. Okay, sorry. I'd read it. Right. Okay. Go on. Okay. I got sidetracked. I said, anybody else have any questions? No. Okay.
Yes, one question, Judge.
Okay. No more or one.
One more question, Judge.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Ms. Wells, at the beginning of the case, was the father in the position to take the child, and did he express, I guess, a want to have the child placed with him?
It's my understanding that he did not express a want to come get him or pick him up when CPS got involved.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay. Miss Wells, where does the father live?
In Louisiana,
Okay. Has
I
he,
believe like New Orleans, St. Rose area.
okay, has he visited with Jonathan during the pendency of the case?
He has not. Again, I have had troubles trying to get a hold of him throughout the case.
Has he paid any child support or anything?
He pays child support to Miss Hardy.
Okay.
I believe that's filed out of New York.
Okay, so pursuant to previous court order, right? The relatives that y'all propose Jonathan go live with, is it maternal or paternal?
Maternal.
Okay. Do the parents have any more children together?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's something you probably don't have an answer to, but have you by chance spoken with Latara in the past week about whether or not she's found any options in Watertown?
Is that question for me, Miss Willis?
Yes.
So I spoke to Latara last week on Thursday at her visit with Jonathan, who she told me she was actually planning on moving to New York to be in a shelter and that they're gonna help her find housing out there. And
Okay.
then this week, she told me that that's not the plan anymore. And now I believe she's moving into a hotel, is what I was told today.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Fannin, next witness.
I will call CASA, Ms. Amy Masuda.
Mr. Boute's here.
Oh, there he is. Okay, I'll call Mr. Boute.
Okay.
Mr. Boute, can you express to the court what you believe is whether this move is in the best interest of Jonathan and why?
I do believe it's in his best interest. He enjoyed the time he spent up there at Christmas and wants to go back. He's expressed an interest that his only place that he wants to go live actually is with his aunt in New York. He does not want to go back to his mother. And I think the aunt in New York is prepared to take him in and make sure he gets appropriate schooling to get caught up. And I think it's in his best interest rather than anywhere else.
Okay, and Mr. Boute, do you know if Gordon or Jonathan has lived with this aunt in the past?
Yes, he has.
Okay, and do you know for about how long he lived in that household with the aunt?
My memory's not as good as it used to be, but I'm thinking a year or so.
Okay, and that's a place that he's familiar with, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And that's where.
And do you think it's best for him to be in a family setting rather than basically a shelter or RTC?
I think it is. The shelter he's had is good, but it's still not a family setting. He has issues there, and I think he really wants to be in a family with his aunt and his uncle and his cousin.
Okay, and did you attend the family group conference in this case?
I think I did, yes.
And did the father participate?
No.
Okay. No
I
further
was never
questions.
told about that.
Hold on, sir, be quiet. Not your turn.
No further questions.
Okay, anybody have any questions, Mr. Boute?
No.
No. Okay, thank you.
This is Amy. He was at the family group conference.
The father
Yeah. Yes, and Amy Masuda participated in that. Leo wasn't on the case yet, I don't believe. And he voiced to us then that he couldn't take responsibility for Jonathan because of his work schedule.
I understand that. Okay. Okay, thank you. Anybody have anything else for Mr. Boute? No? Okay, Ms. Fannin, next witness, please.
I was going to call Miss Amy Brown, but I no longer need to do that. I have no further witnesses.
Okay. Anybody? have
Sorry.
any- It's okay. Anybody have any questions of Miss Brown? No. Did the mom, Miss Brown, did the mom go to the family group conference?
Yes, ma'am. He was there in person. And I do know that this is her sister that we're talking about as placement. And I know that Jonathan has lived off and on with this aunt a total of 4 times for approximately 4 years total.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Miss Willis, do you have any witnesses?
I do not.
Okay. Miss McClure, Miss
Yes, if I could call
Wheeler.
Mr.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gordon, you're up.
Mr. Gordon, I'm going to ask you some questions. Are you able to care for your son at this time?
Say that again, ma'am.
Are you able to care for your son at this time?
Yes.
Now, before, if you said that you couldn't do it because of work, what has changed?
Well, what happened, the issue was at first was, finding a place where it was affordable, for me to pay rent. And with doing so, now I'm in a little better spot than where I was before. And when I say that, meaning, financially finding somewhere that was affordable. Because my job, it doesn't pay much, but I'm able to do that now. And plus, I never had a chance to take care of him like I wanted to, because when he basically was born, she left without me knowing. I never had a chance. And that's why that's why he don't, I ain't gonna say he don't know me, but the chemistry was there. But as he was getting older, we wasn't getting along. And then one day she just up and left with his stuff while I was at work. So that's the reason why the distance between me and him is so bad. It's because I never had the opportunity, even when I was trying. And with the way she did that, that makes me look like a bad person, which I've never been from the beginning. And I just feel like that is totally unfair for me. But it's not your fault, but I'm just, stating the facts.
Well, and we need to, that's why I'm asking these questions, so that the judge will know what your perspective is and what you would like to have happen. So let me ask you this. You said you weren't able to develop a relationship at the time this case began, but now you're in a better position. Is that correct?
Well, if I can get to talk to him, yeah, because every time I would get towards, geared towards having a better, relationship with him by talking to him, she would do childish things like block my number or change her number and her location or address to where I can't find them and talk to him. And it would be months before I could even find them or be able to talk to him. And that's the things I've been dealing with since she left.
So here's the question that I think you're going to get asked in a minute by Agata and by other people here is, if you're in a better position to take him now, why didn't you let CPS know that, so that you could have been part of the consideration of, would it be better for him to move to New York with his aunt, or now that dad is in a better situation, would it be better for him to go back to dad?
Well, the reason why was because, like I was saying, living wise, the financial situation wasn't right at the time. And I was working on that. And I didn't want to put him in a position where we both have to look for somewhere to stay. So that's why I didn't involve that at the time.
Right. Now, you've heard that your son does not want to live with you.
And again, that's why I said she messed up that relationship me and him did have. Because it was never like this when we first started off.
So let me ask you this. It sounds like what you're saying is that it's not your fault that you don't have a good relationship, and it's not your fault that your son doesn't want to come live with you.
It's not my fault. It's really not.
So you do understand that we're not asking that your rights be terminated or anything today. We're just talking about where your son's going to live. So do you understand that you're still being given an opportunity to start building that relationship with him so that maybe by the time this case is over, things will look different?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for this, for working on that, and I just want to be able to talk to him.
Well,
that's something that
so part of what I asked you to do the other day when we communicated was, I want you to be able to tell the judge, if he does move to New York, what would you like the court to order as far as you being able to have contact with him? What would you like?
I mean, contact and, visitation. Well, what the required rights are, that's what I want.
So would you be able to go to New York and visit with him in person?
I would be able to do that. Yes, I can go up there. I mean, I'm not, financially the best, but I'll make my way up there. I want to put that up front.
Okay. And would you like to be able to start having some maybe phone calls with him or some virtual visits with him?
I want all of that. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Judge, I'm not aware of the orders in this case. Is this a case where the ad litems in the department can agree to appropriate contact and that can be changed by agreement? Or is this a case where you're making all the specific rulings on that?
I don't have my file on my docket sheet because this got set after we got files together. So I can't answer that. Miss Savannah.
I'm looking right now.
Or Mr. Butte, do you know off the top of your head?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Could we just ask?
It's at your you said the ad litem's in the department and we've never said that he couldn't have contact.
Okay. So could you just order that Mr. and I understand that he may be hard to get a hold of. Mr. Gordon, you're going to probably need to have the responsibility of contacting them placed on your shoulders. But if you'll contact them, then let them work with you to come up with some type of a schedule.
When you say contact his aunt or contact y'all?
I'll make sure when this is over with that you've got the information to contact the people that you would need to contact. Are you willing to take the responsibility to reach out to them before they do anything? Because they're going to want you to take that first initial step before they take any action to start any type of contact.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have a problem with doing that.
Okay. I
have no problem with it.
Okay. So after this is over with, I'll give you that contact information and we'll go from there. Okay.
So let me ask you this. If you don't mind me asking, who am I contacting? Am I calling where he's at, or do I contact the aunt?
So
I'm asking who am I contacting?
So there's a group of people the group is responsible for working on what your contact should be. That group will consist of the department, which is your caseworker. Her name is Savannah Wells, and she and her supervisor, Amy Brown. And then we've got CASA, we've got a supervisor, Amy Masuda, and the volunteer, his name is Leo Boutte. And Agata Vana is the county attorney that's working on this. And so she may also be part of that. And then there's an ad litem for your son. She is the attorney for your son. She's not here today, but she would also be part of that team. So I will make sure that you get that information, and I'll make sure that Courtney can work with you on that, okay, when she gets back.
Okay, because another thing too that I want to ask for, let me ask you this: if I contact Miss Savannah, I have a number. Hopefully, it's the right one. Hopefully it's the same like last time. But so she would be one of the people I would have to talk to.
Yes, she's actually one of the most important people for you to stay in contact with.
Okay, well I have her number then.
Then that's an excellent first step. And Savannah can work with the rest of the group and can make sure everybody knows what's going on. But yes, I would encourage you to get a hold of her today and make sure she can get a hold of you, okay?
Okay.
So let me ask you a couple of questions. Go ahead.
Okay. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, that's what we're going to ask the judge to do if she allows your son to move. But I want you to give me the reasons why you do not want your son to be moved to New York. Go ahead and give us those reasons.
Well, the main thing is, the relationship that we started off with was great, and I want it back. But like I said, because of his mom's decision, which I had no control over, like I said, she left, and I didn't even know he was gone until I came from work. And then, like I said, blocked my number, changed everything. I couldn't find him or nothing, and I didn't know where he was until she got to New York. And I talked to her years back. I said, well, you have to understand, you basically ruining my relationship with our son on purpose. And I said, well, why would you do that? And flat out, I know y'all don't believe it, but at the time, she was being real ugly to me through him. And she said, well, if we don't get back in a relationship, you're not going to see your son. And like I said, this happened at the time when he was 2. And I haven't seen him since.
Okay, Mr.
I talked to him.
Mr. Gordon.
Huh?
Mr. Gordon, I understand that how it all began. You've already talked about that, and I'm not trying to cut you short, but I think the court's already heard that you believe that mom is the real reason for the estrangement between you and your son. I'd like you to focus on right now, here and now, today. What are the reasons why you do not want your son to move? The court needs to hear those reasons so the court can make a decision, okay?
I mean, the distance, number one, and the closer he is, the better. And being here specifically would be even great for me, because if he's here, I know I have help. I want him here with me. I want to have more time. I don't want to have just, virtual business. I want permanent in person. My son is all I have, and I just want him here with me.
Okay. Any other reasons? I just want to make sure a judge has everything.
And the main thing is just being able to actually put my eyes on him in person. Mm-hmm. Just seeing him, that would make it better for me.
Okay.
I mean, if it ends up being virtual, hey, I have to deal with what the court says. But so long that there is a possibility, being in person would make it real better for me, and not just me, his grandparents, but mainly me.
Okay. And you've already testified that if you had the right to visit, that you could find a way to get to New York, correct?
Yes. Yes. Now, and I want to say this up front too. I don't make the best of money, but I will get there. But I just need everybody to understand, I don't have that money to just up and leave all the time, but I will be there.
Sure. Okay. Is there anything else that you want? Okay. Is there anything else that you want Judge Mabry to know?
Other than what I just said, no, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. You did a great job. Thank you, Mr. Gordon.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions, Mr. Gordon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Vanna.
Mr. Gordon, my name is Agata Vanna, and I represent the department in this case. Thank you for being here today. I have a few questions for you. Okay, sir. It looks like this case started before November 28th, but that's when the department got temporary custody of Jonathan. Are you aware of that?
I was aware of it when I got I had a phone call from, I can't remember the lady, but she had called and said something about him not being picked up from school. I can't remember the lady, but somebody from CPS called and told me that they came and got him because he wasn't properly picked up from school.
Okay.
And that's basically how that all started.
Okay. And
I just can't remember the lady's name.
That's fine. And at that time, were you able to come get Jonathan?
No. It's like I said,
Okay.
financial living situation was messed up at the time. And if I would have came and got him, it would have been, even worse.
Okay, and so at that time you were unable to do that. And since November 28th of 2022, when this department was granted temporary custody of Jonathan, how many times have you reached out to Miss Savannah or somebody with CPS to get a phone call or ask for visits or see how Jonathan is doing?
I called through his mom. I didn't know how to, I'm being honest with you, I've never been in this situation, and I didn't know how to properly handle it, I'm being honest up front. And I was contacting through the mom, see how he was doing, because like I said, at the time, I didn't have no number, or I didn't even know of Miss Savannah at the time. And I was doing it through her, and that was basically how I was doing it, checking on him.
Okay.
I know that don't seem the right way, but I was doing it through the mom.
When you obtained Miss Savannah Wells' telephone number, how many times did you reach out to her about visits and Jonathan's well-being?
Well, like I said, I didn't. I did it through the mom. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, and you heard Miss Savannah Wells testify that she's tried to reach out to you and call you, but you've never answered the telephone. Is that right?
I've never gotten a phone call from Miss Savannah. The only person that ever talked to me was my lawyer. That's the only person that I've ever talked to.
Okay.
That I can remember.
And Mr. Gordon, how much do you make an hour?
16.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, sir.
16.
16?
Yes.
Okay, and how many hours a week do you work?
40.
Okay. And Mr. Gordon, do you smoke marijuana?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you use any meth?
No.
And do you use any other controlled substances that you don't have a prescription for?
No, I do not.
Okay, and you were ordered, actually, both times were ordered to take drug tests. If you submitted to the court-ordered drug test, would you be positive or negative for all substances?
I would be negative because I don't smoke.
Okay, and what do you do for a living?
I do maintenance at a high school.
Okay, and do you have a family support system where you live?
Yes.
Okay. Have you provided the department, or I guess I'm not going to ask what you've talked to your attorney about, but have you provided the department with a list of relatives that might be a good place for Jonathan to be so the department could look into them?
The only people that I trust are my mom and dad.
Okay. Did you provide that information to the department?
Yes, they talked to my mom. They talked to my mom. They never called my dad though.
Okay.
They talked to my mom.
Okay. No further questions.
Mr. Gordon,
No,
the
ma'am.
last time that you spoke to Jonathan?
Oh, it's like I said, it's been a while.
Okay. Okay.
It's been a while. I'm being honest.
Do you have any other children, sir?
No, ma'am. He's the only one.
Okay, thank you. Are you married or have a girlfriend or a partner or anything?
No, ma'am.
Who do you live with, sir?
I live by myself.
Okay. And you live in New Orleans?
River Ridge, but when they put my address in, it pops up New Orleans.
Okay. Okay, thank you. How long have you held your job?
June 11th will be 12 years.
Wow. Okay. So you got retirement, insurance and all that stuff, I imagine?
Yes, the only thing the school board don't give is Social Security, but we have retirement.
Yeah, because you're in the teachers retirement system. I understand that. Yeah. Do they do random UAs at your school district?
Who?
Do they do like random drug tests if they think people are under the influence or anything?
Not that I know of, but what they do is they drug test you to get the job, which I passed.
Yeah.
And then if you have an accident, they drug test you,
Okay.
which I passed. I will pass. I don't want to have an accident, but if that was to happen, I would pass.
Right, right. Okay. Well, 12 years is a long time to have a job these days, so that's good. I congratulate you on that.
Thank you, ma'am.
And you probably had to live through some hurricanes working on that school too.
Yes, ma'am.
I totally understand. Okay, thank you, Mr. Gordon. Appreciate that. Anybody else have any questions, Mr. Gordon? Okay, thank you. Ms. McClure, do you have any more witnesses?
No, Your Honor, he was the only witness I had.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Boutte, we already talked a little bit. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I'm happy to hear from anybody.
Just closing arguments, Judge. We're asking the court to grant our motion and allow the department to place Jonathan with his aunt in New York. He's comfortable with that placement. That's where he wants to go. He'd be in a relative setting. And unfortunately, he doesn't know Dad. And that's not where he wants to be. And we don't think that that would be in his best interest at this time. Mr. Gordon did have an opportunity to actually have placement of this child and was unable at the time. And neither parent is doing their services. So we're just asking the court to grant our motion.
Thank you, Ms. Fana. Ms. McClure.
Judge, it sounds like Dad does have some reasoning for why he wasn't able to establish that relationship earlier. And it sounds unfortunate that he wasn't able to take him at the beginning of the case. Had he been able to do so, we probably wouldn't even be in a case right now. He probably would have gotten a monitored return and we wouldn't even be here right now. I think that Mr. Gordon knows that things could have been a little different and they're not, but he's asking for either for you to not allow the move and allow him more time to try to build that relationship. But I would ask that if you as judge do decide to approve the move, that the parties here be encouraged to work with him as much as he is working with them. I do understand that it sounds like he has not been as proactive in the past as he should have been. And I think that he's beginning to realize that. But, I would ask that if you do allow the move, that if he does institute and initiate contact, that the parties work with him so that he can try to establish a relationship with his son. Whatever the end result is, he should at least have the chance to establish that.
And Jonathan's like 14, 12, 14. No, how old is Jonathan?
He's 10.
10. Okay, I don't have the file, so I apologize. Okay. Okay, I am going to allow the move to New York. I want Jonathan placed in therapy. And I want his dad and the therapist and Jonathan to talk, some during therapy so they can establish a relationship independent of mom being in the middle, which I think needs to happen. Young man always needs to have another role model, and hopefully Mr. Gordon is a good role model. So they need to start talking in therapy. If Jonathan wants to call and talk to his dad, I have absolutely no problem with that. I'm gonna put the ball in. I'm gonna say that, but I also want to try to let Mr. Gordon try to reach out to talk to Jonathan also. So if Mr. Gordon wants to talk to Jonathan like once a week or something, I don't have any problems with him calling and him in the place out some sort of supervised phone call or something like that to start their relationship. And obviously they will need to, work through some things in therapy also. So I think that kind of the best of both worlds, get these two young men and his dad in therapy. And then if Mr. Gordon wants to have a relationship with his child, he can call it placement whenever Jonathan gets situated. Let's wait 2 weeks or so once he gets situated and start doing some phone calls. I mean, the mom's ill, the mom's sick, she's going to be having issues. The kid needs to have a parent that's stable and going to be around. And, you know, if Mr. Gordon and Jonathan can create a good relationship, might be a bad deal for Mr. Gordon to have placement of Jonathan later on down the line. I don't know. I can't say that right now, but Ms. Masuda?
Could Mr. Gordon's child support be redirected to the placement?
Yes. Ms. Vanna, I hope you're taking good notes because I don't have a docket.
I am. The thing with the child support is that if he's court ordered out of New York, we haven't received their family courts are kind of like our juvenile courts. And so a lot of things, so we're having difficulty finding the actual court orders from New York. I don't know if those wages are being garnished from Mr. Gordon or how that's being done at this time.
Well, here's what we're going to do then.
Okay.
We're going to say once mom, Miss maybe is already in. No, it's not because the department was placement. Let's just say once mom receives the child support, she has 3 days to forward it to the placement.
Okay.
Mr. Gordon, I need you when Miss Wheeler gets back. I'm going to need you to talk to her because we're going to have to figure out where you know that you're not current on your child support if it's being taken out of your paycheck, because we're going to have to see where it's going to make sure that mom is keeping the money and not forwarded to the placement. Okay.
It's being taken out my check. I see it all the time.
Okay.
Mr. Gordon, do you have a copy of the court orders out of New York that order you to pay child support?
I'm at work and it's all my stuff is at home.
Can you provide that to your attorney so that we can get all of this stuff squared away so we can, get all those court orders from New York and figure out what's going on?
I mean, once I get home, I could.
Yeah.
I'm at work.
Yeah. No, not today. Like over the weekend, first of next week, something like that.
Yes.
Okay. Please do that, Mr. Gordon. Okay.
And I'm making a note for court, Judge.
Excuse me?
I'm making a note here for Courtney that she needs to work with him on those issues.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Well, there's Miss Hardy. Okay, sounds like a plan. Parents have to tell everybody at every hearing you have to comply with your service plan or your parental rights could be subject to termination. So good luck to everybody and I hope everything works out well.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Judge. We'll be in recess. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Melissa.